Imagine a man who ruled the largest empire on earth. An empire that stretched from the shores of Spain all the way to the mountains of Central Asia. Millions of subjects. Unlimited power. Unimaginable wealth. And yet, when he died, he left behind just 17 dinars. Enough to pay the rent of the house he died in, and the cost of the land he would be buried in, nothing more. But here is what is even more extraordinary. In the 2 years and 5 months that this man ruled, poverty nearly disappeared from the Muslim world. His zakat collectors rode from province to province, searching for anyone poor enough to receive charity. They could not find them. The wealth of an entire empire had been redistributed. Justice had replaced corruption. The forgotten had been remembered. And all of this happened in less than 3 years. His name was Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz, and most of the world has never heard of him. To understand what Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz achieved, you first need to understand the world he was born into. The year was 682 CE. The great era of the rightly guided caliphs Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, may Allah be pleased with them, had ended decades earlier. In their place stood the Umayyad dynasty. And the Umayyads, for all their military genius and administrative power, had drifted dangerously far from the spirit of early Islam. Corruption had become routine. Governors lived like kings. The Bayt al-Mal, the public treasury that belonged to every Muslim, had become a private bank for the royal family. Non-Arab Muslims, known as the Mawali, were treated as second-class citizens. Despite converting to Islam, they were still forced to pay the jizya, the tax reserved for non-Muslims. Islam, it seemed, had become a privilege of Arab blood. The scholars spoke out. The people suffered quietly, and the caliphs in Damascus feasted. This was the world Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz was born into, as a member of the Umayyad royal family himself. But his story actually begins much earlier, before he was even born. During the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph, the great caliph, was walking through the streets of Medina one night on his regular patrols, checking on his people. He passed by a house and heard a mother and daughter arguing. The mother wanted the daughter to add water to their milk to stretch it further, to make more money. The daughter refused. The caliph has forbidden this. Even if he cannot see us, Allah sees us. Umar ibn al-Khattab stood in the darkness, listening. His heart moved. The next morning he sent word to his son Asim, "Marry that girl." He said, "I hope she will give birth to someone who will rule Arabia with justice." That girl married Asim ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab. Their daughter grew up and married Abd al-Aziz ibn Marwan, a governor of Egypt. And their son, born in 682 CE in Medina, was Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz. The dua of a great-grandfather had finally been answered. Umar grew up in privilege. His father was governor of Egypt. His uncle was the caliph himself. He was educated in Medina under some of the greatest scholars of his generation, memorizing the Quran and studying the Sunnah. He was known for his sharp mind, his deep knowledge, and for his immaculate clothes and perfume. People could smell him walking down the street. He married Fatima bint Abd al-Malik, a princess, daughter of the caliph. He was, in every sense, a man of the ruling elite, and yet something in him was always different. When he served as governor of Medina, rather than ruling by decree, he formed a consultative council of the city's greatest scholars. Under his lenient governance, people migrated to Medina from Iraq to escape harsher rulers. The scholars loved him, the people trusted him, but real power and real testing was still to come. In 717 CE, the Caliph Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik lay dying. He had no adult sons to succeed him. He was desperate, and so he trusted the one man in his court he believed was truly righteous, his advisor, Raja ibn Haywa. Raja wrote the succession letter in secret. He gathered the Umayyad princes in the mosque and made them pledge allegiance to Sulayman's successor before revealing who it was. Only after they all agreed did he open the letter. The name, Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz. There was immediate uproar. Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik, a prince who had expected the caliphate, protested furiously. He had to be physically restrained. And Umar himself? He was the last person who wanted this. "O people, I have been burdened with this responsibility without my desire and without your consent. "If you wish, I will resign right now so that you may choose someone else." The people cried out, "We accept you. We want you." And so he began. With a single condition, he announced to everyone, "Obey me as long as I obey Allah. If I disobey Allah, you owe me no obedience." And then the transformation began. Witnesses later said that from the moment he gave his first khutbah as caliph, he was barely recognizable. His posture changed. His face changed. One man who had known him in Medina said, "I saw him before he became caliph, the finest dressed, the most perfumed, the most proud in his gait. Then I saw him as caliph, walking like a man, carrying the weight of the entire Ummah on his shoulders." And that was exactly how he felt. His wife Fatima, a princess herself, daughter and sister to caliphs, would later describe those first nights of his rule. He devoted his body and his soul to the people. All day he would sit tending to their affairs. And when night came, he would sit while business remained. One evening, when he had finished everything, he called for his lamp, buying the oil from his own money, and prayed 2 prostrations. Then he sat back, with his chin in his hands, and the tears ran down his cheeks. And this did not stop until dawn. She once asked him why he was weeping. "I have been made ruler over the Muslims. I was thinking of the poor who are starving, and the sick who are destitute, and the naked who are in distress, and the oppressed who are stricken, and the stranger who is in prison, and the venerable elder, and those with large families and small means in every province of this vast empire. And I feared that my Lord would ask me about them on the day of resurrection. And I feared that no defense would avail me." Before Umar could reform an empire, he first had to reform himself. On the day he became caliph, the royal treasury sent him the customary gifts: horses, gold, fine clothes, perfumes, palaces. Every Umayyad ruler before him had kept them as personal property. Umar sent everything back to the Bayt al-Mal. Every single item. He sold his own personal possessions, the slaves, the perfumes, the fine robes, the superfluous comforts of his princely life. All of it auctioned off. The proceeds, 23,000 dinars, given entirely in the way of Allah. He abandoned the caliph's palace and moved into a modest home. He wore rough linen. He often went unrecognized in public. He was so frugal that there were Fridays when he was late to the mosque because he had to wait for his one shirt to dry after washing it. He had no other. Then came the moment with his wife. Fatima still wore the extraordinary jewelry gifted to her by her father. The former caliph jewelry so spectacular that no one in the kingdom had seen its like. Umar went to her and said, "Either return this to the Bayt al-Mal or allow me to separate from you. I cannot bear that you and I live in the same house while this is here." Fatima was the daughter of a caliph, the sister of 2 caliphs, and the wife of a caliph. She could have refused. She could have walked away. Instead, she said, "I choose you, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, over all of it. And I would gladly give away more." When his son bought a ring for 1,000 dirhams, Umar wrote to him, "Sell the ring, feed 1,000 hungry people, and write to tell me that you have done it." He even set aside the annual budget for Hajj from the royal treasury, saying it was not his money to spend on personal journeys. He never performed Hajj as caliph. He could not afford to go on his own salary. The caliph of the largest empire on earth could not afford Hajj, and he was at peace with that. Now, personal piety alone does not change empires. Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz knew this, and so he acted swiftly, systematically, and without compromise. His first act as caliph: dismiss every oppressive governor in the empire. Overnight, the men who had terrorized provinces for years were removed. Gone was the legacy of al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf's brutal regime over Iraq. People wept in relief. His second act: end the humiliation of the Mawali. For decades, non-Arab Muslims had been required to pay jizya, the tax for non-Muslims, even after converting to Islam. This was both unjust and un-Islamic. Umar abolished it completely. If you were Muslim, you were equal. Arab or Persian, Berber or Sindhi, equal in rights, equal in dignity, equal before Allah. The effect was staggering. Across Persia and Egypt, hundreds of thousands accepted Islam not because of military pressure, but because they now saw a state that actually lived by its own principles. The message had become credible again. Third, he reformed the taxation system from the ground up. Unjust taxes were abolished. Fair taxes were transparently collected. And crucially, he stopped the drain of wealth from the provinces to the royal family. The Bayt al-Mal belonged to the Ummah. Every dirham would go back to the Ummah. The results were immediate. Ibn Kathir records that the annual revenue from Persia alone jumped from 28 million dirhams to 124 million dirhams because the people trusted the system. They paid willingly. They stopped hiding their wealth. Commerce flourished. Fourth, he built roads, bridges, wells, irrigation systems across the empire. And he refused to tax the people to pay for them, instead funding them from the state treasury. Because infrastructure was the state's responsibility, not the people's burden. Fifth, he decentralized the zakat system. Before his reign, zakat, collected in each province, was sent to Damascus. Umar reversed this. Zakat stays in the province where it is collected, distributed to the poor of that very region first. Only if no poor person could be found would the surplus move to the next province. He ordered his governors to take a census, find every poor person, every widow, every orphan, every sick person who could not work. Find them and give them their share. He also commissioned the very first official collection of hadith, the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ, so that Islamic knowledge could be preserved and spread beyond the scholars. He ordered that every child in the empire receive an education. And then the miracle happened. The zakat collectors came back to him with a report that should have been impossible. They had ridden across North Africa. They had searched the provinces of Persia. They had gone from village to village, town to town. They could not find anyone to give the zakat to. There were not enough poor people. The surplus was so great that in some regions, Umar instructed the governors, use the zakat to buy the freedom of enslaved people, set them free with the money of the Ummah. In less than 3 years, one man had done what entire governments today claim cannot be done. He had nearly eradicated poverty in the largest empire on earth, not with foreign aid, not with international organizations, but with justice, accountability, and taqwa. But not everyone was pleased. The Umayyad nobility, the princes, the merchants, the corrupt officials had lost everything. Their stipends cut, their land returned to the people, their power stripped away. They seethed. They had never wanted Umar as caliph, and now they saw an empire, their empire, as they saw it being handed over to the poor. They found a slave within Umar's household. They bribed him with 1,000 dinars to poison the caliph. The slave did it. When Umar realized he had been poisoned, he called the slave to him. He did not call for punishment. He did not call for the guards. He asked, why? The slave confessed. He had been paid 1,000 dinars. Umar took the 1,000 dinars and deposited them in the Bayt al-Mal. Then he looked at the slave and said, go, leave this place immediately. If the Umayyads find you, they will kill you. He freed the man who had killed him. As he lay dying, his family gathered. His children, his wife, his relatives. He asked to see the widows and orphans of the empire first, before his own children. When his children were finally brought to him, he looked at them and said, my children, I had 2 choices. Either I secure your worldly future and ruin your hereafter, or I secure your hereafter and leave your worldly matters to Allah. And I chose Allah. He left no will for his children. He said, if they are righteous, Allah will provide for them. In his final moments, his family heard him reciting a verse from the Quran. Then he recited, as for that abode of the hereafter, we give it to those who do not seek exaltation in the earth or corruption, and the good end is for the righteous. Quran 28-83. And then he was gone. He was 38 years old. He had ruled for 2 years and 5 months. He left behind 17 dinars. News of Umar's death reached the Roman emperor. He reportedly said, a virtuous person has passed away. I am not surprised to see an ascetic who renounced the world and gave himself to the worship of Allah. But I am certainly surprised at a person who had all the pleasures of the world at his feet and yet shut his eyes against them and lived a life of piety and renunciation. The scholars of Islam responded in one. Sufyan al-Thawri, one of the greatest hadith scholars who ever lived, said, "The rightly guided caliphs are five: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and Umar ibn Abd-Al-Aziz." Imam al-Shafi'i said the same. They were not alone. And what happened to those who had opposed him? The Umayyad relatives who had resented losing their royal stipends, who had cried out at the injustice of Umar's reforms, they died in poverty, beggars on the streets of Damascus. But Umar's children? They became among the wealthiest people of their generation, not because their father had left them money, but because their father had left them something more valuable: character, trust, and the blessings of a life lived in the way of Allah. His wife Fatima was offered her jewelry back after his death by her brother Yazid, who became caliph after Umar. She refused. "I gave up these valuables during my husband's lifetime. Why would I take them back after his death?" The man had transformed not just an empire, but the people who loved him. We live in a time when we hear constantly that poverty cannot be solved, that corruption is inevitable, that power corrupts everyone, eventually. And then we find Umar ibn Abd'Alaziz, a man who had every reason to use power for himself, royal blood, unlimited wealth, an empire at his command, and instead chose to serve, not as a performance, not for applause, but because he genuinely believed he would stand before Allah and account for every widow, every orphan, every prisoner, every hungry child in every province of his empire. And that belief changed everything. The scholars tell us that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Allah will raise at the beginning of every century for this Ummah someone who will renew its religion." Umar ibn Abd-Al-Aziz was the very first, the first Mujaddid, the first renewer. He proved something that still holds true today, that justice is possible, that poverty is not inevitable, that a leader who truly fears Allah can transform the world. He just has to actually fear Allah. If this video gave you something, a reminder, a motivation, a name you'll remember, then please share it. These stories belong to the entire Ummah. And if you are watching this in hardship, in difficulty, in a moment where justice feels impossible, remember Umar ibn Abd-Al-Aziz. Remember that Allah can raise, in a moment, from the most unexpected places, exactly what this Ummah needs. Subhanallah.